UFC on Fox 3 happening tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, Diaz versus Miller. And joining us this morning, a very, very special guest, the Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion and two-time Olympian Ronda Rousey, to talk about the fights and some other stuff. How you doing this morning, Ronda?
Doing good. I mean, the second I woke up, they're like, radio now! So I'm still getting into it. Pre-coffee.
That's never the thing you want to hear first thing in the morning, right?
No, I was expecting it.
Before we get into the serious stuff, I have to ask you about The Ultimate Fighter last week. It was, according to my friends, my coworkers, we all kind of agreed that in the history of The Ultimate Fighter, it was probably one of the most entertaining episodes we'd seen, but it was kind of also one of the most awkward moments in TV history. You were the first woman ever inside the TUF house, and it just seemed like everybody was put off. Like, they were kind of glancing at you like they were standing against the wall at the 8th grade dance, not sure if they should, ask the girl to dance or whatever. Was it really that awkward, or did they just play it up on TV? Was that creative editing?
No, it was totally actually like that. And they left a lot of things out. After I was done training with Dominic's team, I went to the locker room to change, and Uriah's team was coming in, and they didn't know that I was there. Like, Dominic's team had the warning, and he gave them the talking to. And when I came out from the locker room, I passed by all Uriah's guys, and they've been in seclusion for weeks. So that my title fight and all that stuff happened after they were already out. So a lot of these guys didn't know me, so I'm walking out, and they're like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, God, And then by the time I got to the house later that night, I guess someone filled them in on who I was because they acted totally different when I got to the house. No one would even barely talk to me at all.
That's hilarious.
They missed the part where, every single person was sitting everywhere, in the room except for the couch. There was a while where I was the only one on the couch. And then I think Uriah at one point was, I'll sit next to her, guys. He was trying to be all cool, and I wasn't paying attention, and he tried to walk around me, and he tripped over my heel and, fell on the couch. There were a whole bunch of things that, they just didn't have time to put in there. It was great.
Oh, that would have been awesome. Now, we've got the fights this weekend. Diaz versus Miller, the main event on UFC on Fox 3. Diaz brothers, obviously very, very close friends with you. In real life, or personally, off camera and out of the cage, are they just as brash off camera, or are they, really cool to be around?
They're so super cool to be around, and they're, the most, chill and relaxed people ever. Entirely different from how people think they are. But, no one has the energy to be that mean all the time.
Right. How big of an influence do you think they've actually had on your career thus far?
Just before I even met them, I was always a big, huge Diaz fan. I was kind of, inspired by them, and I always thought that the way that they found to market themselves and build a fan base was so, it seemed unique, and I just kind of drawed from that as well. But, technique-wise and all that stuff, it's just really cool to be able to brainstorm and stuff with other fighters because, MMA is such a young sport that the fighters themselves have more MMA experience than their own coaches, because their coaches are all from different disciplines, and that'll change over the next few years. But for now, if we want to innovate and come up with new things, we've got to work with each other.
Talking with Ronda Rousey, the Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion, you had a really big spotlight on you, obviously, as an Olympian, two-time Olympian. You were a bronze medalist in judo. How much different is the spotlight now as opposed to back then, now that you're the Strikeforce world champ?
Now it's more constant. With the Olympics, it would be, every 4 years, there were a few months, even the 2 months before the Olympics where, things would be kind of more hectic and stuff. But, I don't know if it's really sunk in for me yet, I think I'm kind of mentally treating this all like it's a phase. And I never got it recognized anywhere, from judo. Rarely. So, now it's kind of weird that I'll go to Starbucks and, someone will be like, hey, you're that chick. I'm like, oh, no, I should have not left the house with my boxers and a bunny slipper.
I can imagine that'd be pretty weird, yeah. Gina Carano for a long time was called the face of women's MMA, really did a lot to help put the sport on the map. You seem to have taken that role over pretty well. You've testified in front of the California State Athletic Commission recently. You've been on TV, radio interviews, obviously. Do you see yourself crossing over into movies like she did, or are you more focused on your fighting career right now?
If it would happen in the future, I would like to let it happen organically. It's not something that I'm out to pursue at this moment. Mm-hmm. And, also, I don't know, man, MMA fighters, movies, it just seems like it's death sentence, It's you're 6 months of shooting and 6 months of promoting. That's a year off. And I would like to accomplish, everything that I want to do in MMA before I really commit myself to doing the movies thing, because I want to do things all out, and I want to do things well, and I don't think I could do both at the same time to the best of my ability.
Any word on when you're going to defend your title next?
I'm being told, late summer-ish, but, I don't believe anything until I sign it.
Right on. When you're trash talking, well, maybe trash talking isn't the right way to put it, but your ability to hype and promote a fight is really entertaining. You kind of are on a whole nother level than most. Do you think about what you're going to say sometimes, or do you just kind of blurt it out when you're in the press conferences and stuff?
No, a lot of times I just blurt it out. I mean, some one-liners or something, we'll come up with in a conversation earlier that day and be like, oh my God, and I should totally pick that up like that, but no, mostly it's just kind of on the fly. It's from years of dealing with a very highly educated family that's very good at, arguing, and then going to a gym where everyone's really good at teasing. So it's kind of like a hybrid between the two, where it's not really a thought-out process. It's just like the way I talk.
Is your manager or lawyer ever standing off to the side or in the back of the room going, "No, don't say that, stop"?
When I did judo, the PR lady from judo hated me, and she would. If you go to YouTube, there's someone from the last Olympics. I was like, yeah, I want to sneeze 16 times in a row because I heard a sneeze was 1/16 of an orgasm. I tried to piss her off, because I just wanted to see her face. But now everyone's just kind of like, all right, Ronda, just don't piss anyone off too bad. Just do it. With MMA, they're a lot more chill than with the Olympics, because the Olympics has, this Miss America apple pie image, and MMA is a little bit more. If your boss is dropping F-bombs every other minute, you can get away with one.
I suppose you can. All right, Ronda, call your shot tomorrow night, UFC on Fox 3. Diaz versus Miller. What are your predictions for the fight?
Diaz, hello. Are you kidding me? I predict that Diaz is going to win by triple middle fingers and a double armbar.
You know what? That wouldn't surprise me. That'd be a pretty cool finish, right?
That'd be fabulous.
UFC on Fox 3 tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. You can catch it. Ronda Rousey, the Strikeforce Bantamweight Women's Champion. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate the energy.